Thank y'all for joining us again for another episode of Closed Caption. As you can see, we got our beautiful melanated people before us. They're amazing. And they're about to introduce themselves. We're going to start from my left, their right. Yeah. Oh, he had to think about it. Go ahead. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody your name, what you do, social media.
Yo, what's going on? It's Osiris Anthem, aka Nasir. I'm a rapper. I'm a teacher. I'll be out here trying to be black. Maroon Waters on IG. MAROONWATERS. Yes.
All right. And next.
I'm Akindake. I'm a singer-songwriter, community activist. My social handle is Akindake, IKANDAKE.
Hey, and our next.
I'm Janelle Naomi. I am an educator, an artist, and speaker. And you can find me everywhere at Janelle Naomi.
Simple. All right. And last but not least.
I'm Joshua Sarah. Spiritual technologist, communication artist. You can find me on most platforms on Earthiopian.
All right. So that was an easy introduction. So let's do a quick icebreaker. Get people more familiar with y'all even a little bit more, because we're going to rush through. Not fast, but we're going to get to these topics and knock them out. But we'll start from my right to left. Your left to right this time. I like the eyes. I paid attention to the eyes.
Stop judging me.
What's your sign? What's your sign?
Stop! Libra. Yes, I have jokes. And they always catch me like 17 seconds later, like.
So we got a Libra.
I'm a Libra.
And our next
I wasn't the only one, Lee.
individual.
I'm a Capricorn. I'm just
Cap, Libra, Cap. What we got next? I'm waiting to see if anybody says a ridiculous sign that, people in the comments are going to be like, oh no, what's your sign?
Sagittarius.
Oh, okay, you good, I guess. Yeah. No, I'm joking. And what's our next sign?
Scorpio.
Oh, he horny.
That was it.
That's
Bruh.
I'm joking.
Got a bunch of cold ass babies.
Yeah, we hold down the cold ones around here.
Miss Nay Marie is behind the camera, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everybody.
The owner, editor, Taji Mag. She is a...
Yo.
What are y'all signs?
What is your sign?
I'm a Leo. I'm a summer baby. I get hot.
I'm a Virgo, so that means I'm right. Anyway, we're not going to even get on that because I know there's going to be mad Virgo jokes.
The one will focus.
Anyway, so today's topic that we're going to delve into is we're going to touch on the topic of some of our, or someone who is very endearing to a lot of us, because we see her as a very real person in all of her actions and her thoughts. So we're going to touch on Cardi B.
Cardi.
Now, recently, Cardi was has not necessarily come under fire, but a lot of people have been questioning her actions, behavior, and the things she said recently when she discussed things she used to do before she fully made it in the game. And one of those things was how she used to drug men and then rob them. So, we know the nature of the Me Too movement, things that have been going on with men, let's say Bill Cosby as an example.
Can we not say Bill Cosby as an example?
We could say Harvey Weinstein
There we go.
as an example.
I appreciate that.
There we go. Taking advantage. Harvey Weinstein horribly taking advantage of these women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking about a culture where people are getting certain people inebriated, drunk, then taking advantage of them later on, and then the repercussions that are spent from a male doing it to a female. I hate that word, so man to a woman. But how do the roles play and when it's the other way around? Do you feel, and who's aware of the actual situation? Do you know?
Yeah.
So y'all are pretty familiar. So we're just going to jump right into it. Do you feel she was justified in what she was doing? And then on top of that, do you feel there's any parallel to what a man would have been doing in the same situation? We will start with Candy. Yeah, see, I told you, I'm going with the student who looked like,
Okay. So I do think that it's similar to what happened with Bill Cosby, because from the foundational level, even if you are a sex worker, there should still be a code of conduct as a sex worker. So if someone gives you their trust, you violate their trust, you took advantage, regardless of what you were doing, what your reasoning was, you violated someone's trust, and you took advantage of them when they were vulnerable. So to me, in that sense, it's the same. I think because she comes from a hood background, people just write it off as if it's okay, but that's not, I'm from the hood, and that doesn't represent my morality at all. So when I see stuff like that, people are like, oh yeah, it's because she's hood. It's like, no, that's a sex worker that was violating a code of conduct. Yes, even if you are a prostitute, that's still, if you're going to be a prostitute, and if that's what you're doing, then there's an exchange, there's still some type of agreement. Once you cross that line and now I'm taking it from you, whether I get your permission to get money from you or not, you're violating. So I think she was dead wrong.
Okay. Sarah.
Are there parallels? That's what you was asking?
Yeah, like, do you see there having any parallels?
Yeah, sure, man. I was in the chat room about this conversation, and I pointed out because it was that meme, Bill Cosby and Cardi B, and basically they were saying, I need y'all to have that same energy against Cardi B as y'all had against Bill Cosby. Like, y'all put him under, we need to throw her under, because it's the same thing. And some people was like, no, it's not the same thing, because he was like raping people and she was just taking their money. And I made the point that I don't think the body means the same thing to men and women. Like, if a man woke up after a night of partying and drinking, was like, did that girl fuck me while I was asleep? I don't think he's gonna feel violated. I don't think he's gonna be like, oh damn, that's crazy. How she gonna do that? I don't think so in general, not in this culture. You know what I mean? But if a man wake up and she robbed him, he gonna feel like, damn, she violated. I think kind of equitably in the same way women feel violated in their bodies, because of, if you understand the social values on things. If a man's value is in his ability to provide and have money and his things, and then you take that from him, you've taken his manhood. So then if a woman is like, yo, you violated my body, you've taken my womanhood, I'm saying that's equitable. You see what I'm saying? So as far as parallels go, I think women feel and think and men think and feel. Yeah, we do the same thing, but we're not coming in the same direction. We kind of process things differently. So we can't make it like we're both going the same direction and be like, well, it's got to be tit for tat. It's not. It's really not. So you really have to understand how men and women vary in order to say it's something equitable in the way it affects them. That's my opinion.
Oh, that was a nice little quotable there.
Boom.
I like that.
Get your quote on, bro.
Today's word, children, is equitable. So you hear it scream real loud. No, okay. So we're gonna move next. We're gonna move to
say equitable. I'm going in.
Janelle. What is your opinion?
I do see parallels also. I echo a lot of what was said. I think that her ability to brag on it is what I think Bill Cosby did talk about it, and that's what brought it to light, but also I think he tried to evolve past that. I don't know fully, but there's a lot of evidence that once he got to a certain space that he kind of was doing things for the community. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Cardi B, so I think maybe that's my perspective in context that should be added, because I'm not a fan overall. So I just think this kind of adds to myself being a teacher. A lot of my students look up to her as a role model, and I'm just kind of in that space of like, this just adds another strike for me around the conversation that I have with them around choosing their models and elders that they look up to really wisely, and being really clear about why you look up to this person. So yes, I think that there are parallels. I think that what both of them did is horrendous and disgusting. But I also want to add that perspective of just like, she's not a good role model. And that's really important to me.
I do like Cardi B, but I understand
You like
that perspective.
her as a person or her music? What do you think?
I understand. All right, can we cuss? Or
I already did.
Listen,
Yeah.
I know, right?
We don't get
He used a big cuss word too, like not even a little one.
Okay, so
free form.
Because I know hood shit, I grew up in the hood, I understand the lifestyle that she comes from. And I understand that her music is her truth. The shit that she's rapping about is her truth. Everyone's not gonna agree with it because you don't live that lifestyle. But if you are from that lifestyle, if you're familiar with it, then it's gonna resonate with you. I never got dummies, but I know what it looks like to get a dummy. I know what it means to get a dummy. I know I give a fuck about getting money. So sometimes I feel like, I think with Cardi B, I don't support children listening to her because children are impressionable. But me as an adult, some of the shit she's saying resonates with me. Sometimes I want to leave the house and feel like a bad bitch. Yes, I'm a queen. Yes, I'm a goddess. But sometimes if I have on a certain outfit and the highlight look just right, I might say to myself in my head, you a bad bitch leaving the house. So you know what? Before I go out, I want to hear some music what's going to resonate with this bad bitch energy I'm feeling right now. And I understand it's not super woke and it's not like the right thing to say, but when you understand a certain lifestyle, you resonate. And I'm from Yonkers and she's from Uptown, so I understand the way she talks. I understand she's also really young, and that lifestyle is music for people who fuck with that lifestyle. And if you don't fuck with that lifestyle and you don't come from it and it doesn't resonate with you, then you're not gonna like her, because then it's like she just sounds like a bird talking birdie shit. But some people like that. Like sometimes I want to hear birdie shit. Sometimes I'm feeling birdie. Like for real. Like when she, like sometimes that's a mood. Like so I understand it from the perspective of a parent, but as a perspective as an adult, that sometimes I want to go out, have fun, act like a bird with my friends. Sometimes that's the mood.
Okay.
But I wouldn't want her to be. I don't think she was meant to be a role model.
Okay.
She's herself.
So let's say incident. No. That's what I'm about to touch on. I'm about to actually add a little bit to what you're gonna give. So, do you feel? Again, are there parallels? Do you also feel what she did was a necessity?
I mean, it's definitely parallels. I agree with a lot of what was said already by the family over here. Necessity? No. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just had to throw that pill in that drink. I just had to put that needle in his arm. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a necessity. Was stripping a necessity for her? Maybe. You know what I mean? A lot of young women get coerced into that lifestyle by men that are much older than them and are trying to exploit them. And maybe that's what happened to her. And then maybe she felt like stripping was something that was necessary for her. But even if you ask, does she feel like, I know she maintains that she wasn't a prostitute, but let's say that she was, and she felt like she had to sell her body to make money, I think you could say yes. But drugging and robbing people, even for me with like street shit, is a lot of gray areas with how I feel about a lot of things. But robbing people is always one of those things that I'm just like, I could get what you robbing another drug dealer. I could get with you
that you can rob.
Having beef with another gangbanger. I could get with you, maybe shooting at somebody else that's involved in some street shit. But when you're doing things to innocent people, I can't really get with that. And I also feel like, to kind of touch on the way the conversation has been blended on like social media, for example, I feel like sex work is getting housed as this term as like everybody who's a sex worker is a victim, and anybody that purchases sex work of any type is a predator. And I'm like, I've been to like a couple of strip clubs in my life. There's nothing wrong with me coming to a strip club, right? There's also nothing wrong with somebody going into a strip club and being like, or uncommon for somebody to go into a strip club and be like, yo, trying to hit that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I never did that, but it's not uncommon. Like, niggas be in a strip club horny. And so for her to be like, or for the idea that these men deserved to be drugged and then robbed because of their sexual desire towards her, that's exploitation at the end of the day, which is similar to what was going on with Cosby, I guess you could say, like, where it's like these women, their desire to be around him because he was Bill Cosby, you could say he exploited that, and what they both took out of the situation was different, but they both exploited the power that they had over the people involved, I don't personally I don't think I really care personally if Cardi did that or not. But if you can ask me if it's wrong, yeah, like it is wrong, you know, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and
Can I say something about that
I was going to
necessity
say,
thing?
you want to expand? Go ahead.
Dr. Africa has this quote where he says, anything a slave does to get free is honorable, right? So I give a lot of leeway when oppressed people find criminal activities lead to freedom, right? What Harriet Tubman did was illegal as hell, right? She was a straight criminal. Assata Shakur is still a wanted woman, you know what I mean? Like, so I always blend into the legality of things, but I do follow code, you know what I mean? Like, it's codes to the thing. So I'm like, if we talking about getting free, like, if you find a necessity for freedom, cool, but how often is your necessity for freedom taking advantage of an innocent person? You see what I'm saying? Now, if you drugging somebody that's an overseer, somebody that's a jail cell keeper, somebody that's a judge that's putting children in jail for the kickback, I'm with it. I'm clapping and I'm saying that's ancestral right there. That's the same thing when the nanny puts a little too much sleeping potion in the tea. You know what I mean?
I don't mean to cut off your train of thought, but like if the story was she drugged her pimp and robbed him and dipped, we would have been celebrating like, hey, that's gangster. Yo, Cardi, you a G for that, right? You know what I mean? Like,
if we just
in that line of thought,
yeah. But if we just like my man said, you know, your job is to turn people on. You know what I'm saying? And then they get turned on like, yo, I want to hit that, and you're like, oh word, you deserve to get victimized because I turned you on, and then you responded to that. That I can't say that's no part of necessity. You see what I'm saying? Especially you get in the bag. You're in the strip club. I know it's a rough job, but they do get money when they work well, and she seemed to play it like she worked well. Yeah. And for her to say she got it all, you know, to say, like I saw the clip where she said it was like her saying she didn't get nothing from nobody. She had to do it all herself, right? But I'm like, yo, is that doing it all yourself? You know what I mean? I thought to myself, like, I've been in some hard times. I've been homeless. I've had really hard things happen. I ain't never had to go victimize nobody else. I went hard for my grind, you know, and used my intelligence. Like, what can I do? And I did my best to avoid setting up myself because I know about karma. So I was like, I don't want to set myself up while I'm in a low energy, such that when I'm back on high horse, I'm going to get knocked off on my own. It's not necessary to do it like that. But yeah, I understand why Harriet Tubman put shotguns on people and said, you either coming with us or you're going to die right here. That's a necessity. I'll kill you if you want to go back because we're not getting caught for your stupidity. That's a necessity.
So let me add another question because I know we're going to transition. So this question is going to be, do you feel with respect to everything that she said, she should suffer any repercussions for her statements? Usually, when somebody makes a statement like that, usually you find that these statements come from men. Something similar, they say something and we tend to focus the lens on the man and their behavior, and there's some kind of expectation following the statement. Should we collectively have any expectation of her to say anything, hold any responsibility for what she said, or anything of that nature? And we can start with Janelle.
Should we expect her to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I expect her to. I would like her to. I don't expect her to. I'll say it like that. I think it would be really honorable of her to show some reflection and shifting of her energy around it. My sister likes her, and just to comment, like I definitely understood everything that she was saying. And my sister's like a fan-ish, I think. I don't want to speak for my sister, but like she with it, you know what I mean? I doubt that it's gonna happen. I really think that the whole parallel between her and Bill Cosby is the notion that like men and women are being equally looked at, but it's really not men and women. It's really the black man that's being looked at in that lens and being forced to deal with his sins in that way. And we all fall short. We all have moments where we do those things that we know we shouldn't do. And to have them put on Front Street in the way that his was is never going to be society pushing it forward for Cardi B in that way. And so because of that, I know that will never happen. But had this been an equitable society, then
Hey, it's the word of the day. Equitable.
Yeah.
Don't go in.
But had this been an equitable society, we would be able to. But it ain't though.
I think it's because women feel like it's so fucked up to say. It's kind of a win for women. And the reason it's kind of a win is because low key under everything, women feel powerless a lot in this society. And in any way, shape, or form, when a man gets exploited, women collectively feel a little bit more powerful because we always feel like power is never in our control. So women look at Cardi and they say she's a strong woman, she's a powerful woman. And even when she does something negative, the fact that it was making a man feel vulnerable is why I feel like she's never going to apologize. Because it's more than that. It's more of, I'm a woman, men do what the fuck they gotta do all the time, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And women are like, yeah, you do what you gotta do, because these niggas ain't shit no way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she got all of these riding behind her. And I think that's why she's never gonna be apologetic, because it's like, women feel empowered by the fact that low-key that she got away with that kind of shit. Like, I was reading comments and women are really like, yeah, get them. Yeah, get these niggas for all they got anyway, because da-da-da. And I'm like, whoa.
If she's in that space and a man is, let's say, being Bill Cosby and drugging her, or someone she knows, you know what I mean? Like, if she's ever experienced a man doing something like that, the flip is gonna be like, absolutely, if I get a space to do that, I'm going to take advantage in that way. So, just to add to that.
Bruh.
I do, even though I do see the parallels, I'm gonna always think that a physical violation is definitely worse in my opinion. Like, I agree, like being robbed.
I agree with you on that.
Being robbed, that could hurt. You know what I mean? Take your jewelry, your money, whatever it is, that hurts. But that's not the same as like being physically violated. And so, like, I imagine if a homie told me, yo, went to the strip club, went back to the telly with this shorty, yo, I woke up, everything was missing, bro. I probably laugh, like, yo, you dead ass, bro, you're an idiot. Like, what did you drink? Like, I'll probably go in on him, and then I'll probably, yo, bro, it happens, you good, get yourself together, I'm gonna take you out, and that'd be the end of it. You know, if it's a woman being violated, or not even just a woman, if it's somebody being physically violated, or if my homeboy told me, which men probably wouldn't even divulge something like that, but if we did divulge that and it was a physical violation, that would be a totally different story that could have a long-term effect on who you are. So long story short, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Part of me it's wrong, but it's not that big of a deal for me in comparison. You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead.
I saw another video where she was talking about how she would get a dude really drunk, have him take some kind right. Yeah. So to add that level, if I may, how do you feel about that?
No, say that way.
No, say it out.
Okay,
people know what you're talking about.
She stated that she would do similar actions, not drug a man till he's put to sleep, but drug a man so that he's like
sloppy, good.
You know what I mean? And then say, we about to have a threesome with this other girl, blah, blah, blah. And then it's a transsexual. He wakes up and she's like, yeah, tranny sucks your dick, like that. And I'm like,
yeah, that's a physical,
crazy.
That's a physical violation. Yeah. And you can have trauma from that for the rest of your life. So that's totally different than getting money taken out your pocket.
Right.
You know
that's real.
That's so separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, should she? It would be nice if she said something, but like, I think most of us who have been on this panel for the last several months are like anti-cancel culture anyway. So like, I'm not canceling her over that. I'm not even really that big of a fan anyway. And so I talk shit about her on a regular basis when there's an opportunity. You know what I mean? So I think this is, and on a broader perspective, I just want to touch on this. I think what the broader conversation around this is like, the people who are tired of cancel culture, and that's a big reason why people are like, yeah, make her Annie up. So what's up now? Because if it wasn't if a shorty went to Chippendales and then some nigga took her back to the hotel, drugged her and robbed her, that would be a whole thing. Like, yo, this male stripper took advantage of a woman,
right?
But because it's her, because it's a woman, and it seems like as long as you're not a heterosexual male, you have cancel-proof blue all over your body, like you straight. You know what I mean? And so I think that's a bigger reason why people are like, yeah, let's get her for this joint. But I mean, man, she needs to shut up. She talk too much.
Did y'all see that video? It was like one of those let's expose and see how people do when they don't know somebody's watching them type videos where they had people like in a bar and they was like staging, like they was putting something in somebody's drink. And they did it with men doing it to women and women doing it to men. And when the men did it to women, people would always tap the sis like, hey, no, don't drink that. When they did it to the men, they would kind of just sit back and watch like,
that's crazy.
They gonna get him. What was she getting him?
That's
real talk. Look it up, yo.
That's wild.
And so I say that goes back to kind of what you were saying, like this whole culture of women, you know, the oppressed feeling like anywhere I can get up, I kind of take victory with my own on that, man. And that makes me go back to the idea of what we talked about with the cancel culture before. I don't be canceling people either, so I'm like, we gotta heal. You know what I mean? If we keep canceling everybody, that's always where they get the snitches and the sellouts, the ones that we reject and be like, oh, we ain't fucking with you no more. Instead of embracing them and healing them, like, yo, what happened to you? Why you treat me like that? You see what I'm saying? Like, why are you like this, treating me like this? Probably something happened to you. We always like, that's too much of a violation. So no, I don't cancel Cardi B. I mean, like, I don't rock with it heavy, but sometimes when songs come on, I'm like, oh, that's the shit right there. And my students bump it, so of course I ended up listening. But no, I don't think she needs to be canceled. She needs to be educated. She needs to be healed. I'm sure she has some ragged shit from the Bronx. It may have been a necessity. I don't know. I don't know her life to say what's necessary in her life to do what she did. But I do hold us accountable. I don't expect her from where she is to come back and do nothing different, especially based off the video she already put out there. Like, bitch, what? You know what I mean? She throwing shoes at who? Rihanna or somebody. Beyonce?
Nicki.
Nicki Minaj. I be forgetting. They all the same to me sometimes. My bad. Pop stars are pop stars sometimes. Songs be auto-tuned out.
That was so much shade right there. That was shade. Like, you didn't even call, you done said Nicki, Cardi, you didn't call none of them rappers. You was like, a pop star's a pop star.
That's another story that's real. Like, just there's a certain image that the industry wants, and they all kind of blend into that same.
No, that's very true.
That's a fact.
I be on certain things. They're like, look at them in their Fashion Nova jeans, and I'm like, it's the same person, it's the same body, bro. Just a different page.
What's my man named Neely Fuller Jr.? Y'all know who that is? Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, the ISIS papers.
Yeah.
So her teacher was Neely Fuller Jr.
Cardi's teacher.
No, sir.
No.
Frances Cress teacher.
Okay.
We wish it was Cardi's teacher.
I wish.
Cardi wouldn't be acting like that.
Yeah, he wrote a book, man. You should look it up. But in the book, there's this quote that pops up a lot that says, unless, you know, it might not be verbatim, but it's close. Unless you understand white supremacy, everything else that you think you know will only confuse you. And so that, you know, especially with the conversations going right now, I guess which is our next topic. Yeah, when we start arguing with each other, like, should Cardi have done it, should she have not? And in the background, white folks are like, it's working. You know what I mean? And we sitting here just like bickering and tearing each other up, saying, ugh, you muddy, ugh, you dirty, and we all in the same slop, you know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, there's somebody who put us in the slop and got it on pay-per-view and making money off of us mud wrestling, you know? And we sitting here really confused on it. Unless you understand the game that's being played in the background, the real power dynamics, and why we end up where we are and doing what we're doing, then all this stuff just be having us in confusion and sounding dumb on the internet, fighting with each other about stuff we don't even know about directly and personally. We just making opinions, you know what I'm saying? As educated as we can be with our opinions, but they still just opinions, you know?
Good. That was very, very progressive. I didn't even have to interject. Y'all carried that like directly.
I got you.
And that was like a perfect transition. So what I'm going to say is that, so what I've gathered from this is that there should be some kind of accountability openly, but we shouldn't expect it because it more than likely would not happen. And that in certain situations for women, it is seen as a form of empowerment when they're able to put men in a position like she has. So it's understanding that dynamic to understand why she's kind of being celebrated for her actions, but not necessarily justifying the actions that were done. Can we safely say that's it?
Yeah,
well,
that was pretty good.
Now, what you just mentioned was about things going on in the background. And if we understood the concept of white supremacy, right? So recently, something tragic has happened to the community because a lot of people who held somebody dear, they found out that this person was shot fatally, and that's Nipsey Hussle. 5 times, I believe, to the body, 1 to the head, in front of his store. And I remember maybe it was a few hours, not few hours, or, within 24 hours earlier, he had said, having strong enemies, etc.
No, it was a few hours before.
A few hours before?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had made a tweet, or he had tweeted about having strong enemies, right? And then this tragedy happened. He's leaving behind a family, et cetera, et cetera. The community's, in an uproar because he was trying to work with police and, stopping certain gang violence, et cetera. He had already invested in certain things. Like, he was doing work, and he was putting out a Sadie doc, et cetera. So, with that being said, the violence that came to his doorstep, who do you feel is responsible for that violence? The root cause of that violence?
Yeah.
And how do you feel that the response and answer should be to situations like that, when somebody who is doing the work is taken from us in a violent manner? And we can start with anybody. I won't pick anybody specifically.
So I'm jumping in.
Go ahead.
Trigger happy. I'll go with that first part of it. What's the cause of the violence? That's what you said.
And what is the root cause?
What's the root cause? The root cause is America. This is a violent country from beginning to now. It has never been bashful about that. It has been violent in every way, shape, form, and fashion. They weaponize everything: the air, water, relationships, education, religion. They weaponize everything and attack any and everybody that they see fit. And that's the culture we raised in. If another country don't do something we go beat their ass, we roll up on them, we kill their presidents, their queen, we don't care. That's America. So if we Americanized, how can we not be hyper violent? How can we not think that at the end of the day, if everything else don't work, I can get violent and that works? Because that's how we've been taught works, and we can be as spiritually as we want. And I often talk about how can Europeans go to Africa, buy a boatload, and take over a country or a continent. It's that level of violence that they're willing to go to. Emotional violence, mental violence, scientific violence, just any kind of violence, it doesn't matter. But that level of violence, to be able to be willing to torture people, you know what I mean, to the brink of their humanity and their sanity, to kill people in front of their loved ones. You know what I mean? This is our steady diet. Steady diet. For hundreds of years. It is baked into our DNA to be violent. We're violent with our own children. We're violent in language to our children. I remember sitting in churches and listening to how parents talk to their children and then turn around and say, hallelujah, praise God, love. Shut your little ass up or I'll fuck you up when we get home. Praise God. So we violent by design. So, I mean, what kind, it's such an obvious question that it shouldn't even have to be asked. You know what I mean? But because America has such a good advertising package that it's no, we're actually liberators. We bring freedom and love and peace and prosperity. What violence? No, we don't do that. We just got the biggest military on the planet, but we're not violent. And that's what I'm saying. So of course, gangs follow the template of America, of police, of the mob, of the politicians. There's no difference there, except it's not incorporated. You know what I mean? They ain't business savvy as the rest of them, but it's all the same thing. You know what I mean? So if you see who we got in there now, Trump, I'm sure he's killed somebody by now. Barack and them killed my man Gaddafi. You know what I mean? Gaddafi shouldn't have been killed like that. That's the same Nipsey level to me. Nipsey was our Gaddafi in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Real talk. In an American context, especially because he was from East Africa. You know what I mean? He looked like a young Haile Selassie, bro. And so he was from there. And one of the important things I saw him say is that when he went home to Eritrea, Eritrea, let me say things right, I don't know. Thank you. I'm American raised, y'all. He said he went home and his family treated him in such an African way. The women in the family took such good care of him that it activated something in him that just made him have to want to take care of them. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the type of level of brother we was dealing with. And so if that's the level, how could he even, magnetize somebody wanting to come and shoot him up, right? You just said all that stuff he's done, unless that's just the culture of, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to kill you.
Okay, and now with that being said, what do you feel is the proper response to a situation like that?
Me? I talked a lot.
No,
I keep going.
You're just going to hit that, and then we're going to move to the next.
It was a 2-part question.
It's true.
You only focused on the first part.
All right. The proper response from who?
It can be individual or community.
You got to give me a specific question, bro.
Black community. How do we respond to the killer?
Is there a black community? Your wordplay is messing with me right now, brother. Where's the black community? Where is that?
It would lie within where we live, where we stay, where the surrounding area and the people who are involved in his life would be.
Okay.
Now, the reach
his community
of his life could involve several different communities.
Okay.
So the responses could be varying. Speak about yourself.
Groups of people versus community. Because to me, when you say community, it comes with certain functionality. And if you don't do those functions, you're not a community. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so speak on that.
Yeah, great. Community would already know what to do, right? Mm-hmm. Because community is a functional thing. It's like, this is not a door, that's a wall. You know what I mean? A door has to open and close. And if it don't do that, it ain't a door. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Communities take care of each other. They know where each other at. They ride for theirs. They protect if they have to. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna start throwing shade on that situation, man. But it didn't look good in the moment. Mm-hmm. Cause he was at home. You know what I mean? He was at home. He was in his own castle. And where was his guards? You know what I mean? Nobody shot back in that moment. And then people went and killed the guy's family that they said did it. I guess trying to flush him out. But then that's were they innocents just to try to get to this dude? That's a little too much, right? But if we talk about what we're gonna do, what's the response? It has to go to the root for me. Mm. I don't like the little scratching the surface stuff. That's a waste of time to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I understand, like Neely Fuller said, you gotta understand the game behind it, and so you gotta go to the source of it. What's the response? You withdraw. You withdraw from this thing that makes money off of poisoning us and selling us the cure that they poison us with. You withdraw. You don't give me money no more. If he was banging the Sadie stuff, trying to get us off pharmaceuticals, then you go hard and study it for yourself some more and pull yourself off pharmaceuticals. If he was buying up the block, you go buy up some blocks. If he was saying we need to get assets, go get some assets. Like if we're saying how do we carry on his legacy, how do we do something in terms of what happened to him, then you focus around who he was. And who he was this brother that was making moves and uplift. And so then you go make moves and you go uplift in real simple ways. He was hiring people that was out of jail because they can't usually get jobs. Things like that make an opportunity for your people in a place that is made sure to make sure you have no opportunities except the couple they allow so they can keep putting us on plantations or prisons, whatever they call them now. You know what I mean? But as long as we keep staying in that same process of blaming victims when they explode on each other because they've been driven crazy and left in poverty for generations, so they feel hopeless and they feel like it doesn't matter what I do anyway. Mm-hmm. And nobody cares about me and nobody cares about that person. You can kill black people and get away with it. It's not a big deal in this country. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't hardly blink hard at white people without getting shot the fuck up. You know what I mean? Or they'll call the cops on you. So with that being the case, you have to really think about what's going on. Man, people ain't ready to do what needs to be done. So when you ask what needs to be done, it's like, that's huge. Because the thing is, we have to be self-sufficient. We have to go to a spiritual understanding of ourselves and stop plugging in so hard to how America tells us we can get ahead. The voting, the economics, the legal system, and all that, that's all set up for them to win. All set up for them to win. It's their game, and they change the rules whenever they want, and then they call us names when we complain that you're cheating. So quit playing their game like he was doing. He was setting up his own game. He was doing different things. They've shifted the game. You gotta understand, as long as you keep playing the game, you're helping the beast beat you.
Okay. So we're gonna jump from Joshua. That was good. It was deep. I liked it. I like how you spun the whole specificity of who is responsible for what when you talk about the community or groups of people versus. So we're going to jump over and we're going to go to Osiris, then we're going to jump to Janelle, and then we're going to jump to Candy and finish it off for this section. Okay.
So real quick, I do want to give a shout out in the comments. Educated Lady was basically mirroring and echoing everything you were saying in the comments as you were saying it. It was kind of weird to read.
So what do you feel is the root cause? And then what do you feel is a responsibility after an action like that has been done?
I think some of the things that Joshua said are part of it, but I think the root cause is just, when somebody's in power, somebody's in a position of power and influence, they have an effect on the world around them, and there's gonna be people around them that's gonna want to take them down. That's just the way it is. Whether I know there's a lot of theories out there. If you think it was the government that did it, if you think it was some street shit, if you think it was some other beef that he had, no matter what level you look at it at, it's because there's power and influence. When you have power and influence, there's going to be energies that love you and there's going to be energies that don't. And that individual got something out of being able to take him out. So I think the root cause is just the unfortunate negativity that comes with power and influence sometimes. And the response, I think the response should be, like this week I felt inspired by Nipsey, you know what I mean? Like in little ways, just little things I had to do at work or just in my personal life, I was trying to be a little bit more focused and trying to think, a little larger when it comes to just ideas that I had. I wouldn't say I was a huge Nipsey fan, but I was definitely a Nipsey fan. And I was already inspired by a lot of the things that he talked about in his music and in his passing as I learned more about things that he was doing in his community. Like his words just resonated even heavier with me and what he was doing resonated even heavier with me. And I just feel like, do what you think is like positive for your community. You know what I mean? Do what you think is right by the people that you think are a part of your community. And I think that's all you can do, really. If you want some, one thing I saw, they said that a couple of gang leaders was meeting today.
Because, that picture is pretty dope.
As a result of that, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And he probably would have tried to organize something like that if he was alive. Sometimes when people pass, it does hurt that they pass. But then their spirit just always puts a battery in a whole bunch of people. All that just naturally happens. Whether you lose somebody close to you or somebody that's semi-close to you through art or just whatever like that, you always get energized by their spirit passing in some way, shape, or form. It gets you focused if you felt connected to them. So I just say ride out that positive energy and just keep doing great things if that's what you felt you loved about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to build on the conversation or topics you just mentioned about spirit and energy. As far as root, I think it's our lack of connection to spirit and energy. Because there's so many ancestors who have been publicly sacrificed for doing things that would have bettered our community or in their attempts to better our community. And so we not being able to, because of, like you said, the violence and the separation of, through violence, the separation of us to spirit. I feel like we have gotten to a place where, because of violence so much, we kind of forgot that we were spirit. Forgot that we were spirit first.
Right.
Because look at how I can harm your flesh. Look at how much I can harm your flesh. You're not spirit, And so that is always first. Is often first in our minds and in our hearts, because we don't want our children to do something that might bring about the harming of their flesh, because that's what we see. That's, like you said, is baked into our DNA. So I'm gonna keep my sons home. I'm gonna keep my daughters home, because if they rise up too much, they won't be. And we see that so often. And so we've tapped into that part of it, but we have lost the connection of but why? Why were they rising up? What was their purpose and intention? and being able to tap into that energy, like you said, ride the wave, but like continuously tap in so that you can keep that wave going. I think that that disconnect for me is what I see as a root and a place where would be a way to, what was you saying? Like, what should we do, or what is the
what's the
step?
response?
Yeah, I think that is the response. I mean, continue to keep the same energy. Like, move that forward. You forget, sit down, meditate, tap in, boom, let's go. Do it again. You know what I mean? And that daily, the Bible talks about the renewing of your mind, but it really is just like, are you awake? Do you know what's going on? Be aware every day. This is a new day. It's a new opportunity to be about this work. I want to add one piece. I just went to LA for the first time last month and got off the plane. His picture's humongous. Pictures everywhere. You know what I mean? His energy mad strong there. And I had never been I went to LA once, but it was just like a layover. So I was like, man, this is what's up. Like, he's like literally everywhere. That's crazy, you know? I went there for the purpose of meeting with educators at Crenshaw High, which is, I think I talked to y'all about this, the last black school in LA at this point, the last majority black school, public school in LA. And so that was a part of me, reaching out, trying to network across the country, if you will. But the location is about 5-minute walk from the store, that store, you know what I mean? And the students, I called a couple of the teachers the other day just to check in because the energy is so strong, like, and to bring it all the way back, you talked about like Cardi B not being a role model, but like we are though. Like, we all are. Yeah, we are. And, like Nipsey was, you know what I'm saying? Was, you know what I mean? Like, it really ain't no choice out here. Because if we see any one of us getting to a certain level of existence, you it. Like, I don't really care what you think you're doing at this point because it's so few of us who have made it there and so many of us who aspire to that don't make it. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. And I loved his evolution. I loved seeing that and the children being able to connect with that. It breaks my heart that it happened so close to their school. These children that I've just met, just got a chance to connect with, but that connection, what it's going to do to them, what it's going to change them, I pray that it leaves them with the energy in their very impressionable hearts that pushes them to go beyond in ways that he was and even beyond where he was. Yeah. Okay.
Candy, you can wrap it up for us.
Ask the question one more time.
So what do you feel in terms of the root cause of the situation, and then what's our responsibility, or what is the responsibility or response to that situation?
I mean, the cause is white supremacy. And the reason I say that is everyone sees I have a little teddy bear tattoo, and this is actually for my brother who was murdered. And when we went to court after he was murdered, we looked on his side, and he was 18, the boy was 18. We looked over there. Now, on my brother's side, it's full of people, every age group, every generation. When we looked on the side of the boy who murdered my brother, it was nothing but a bunch of 17-year-olds sitting over there. And I'm like, oh my God, where's his mother? Where's his father? Where's his aunt? His grandmother with diabetes? Like, where's his community? And when this week has been triggering as hell for me. This week has been, I've been triggered out my mind. This whole energy is hip hop, is losing loved ones, all that is triggering. And I feel like it's white supremacy at the end of the day. It's the things that happened when we were young that took our fathers out the house, our mothers having to work or whatever the situation was. He clearly was somebody who just seemed like he didn't have people that instilled any kind of pride in him. For you to murder someone so horribly off your pride and your ego being bruised. Yeah.
Can we stop saying white supremacy and say racism instead?
We can say that because it's black supremacy, brother, and I appreciate it. You right.
I say white
racism.
Inferiority personally.
I was going to suggest that. But yeah.
I appreciate all of these.
Can't keep calling Supreme.
Supreme Shorty.
All right. The white supremacy complex Is it a complex that they have? Are we smooth on that?
You can call it a mental disorder for sure. It is really a disorder.
For sure.
Real talk.
I agree. So because of the sickness and the illness that is them, it created a trickle down effect. Whereas you have black men and black women doing things in this life because they feel like they don't have no other way to get respect. Like there are so many black people in my hood that died, got shot, got stabbed, literally for pride, off of nothing more than that. So I feel like it's us also that kind of fucked up, and we gotta own that too, because clearly his mother and father, somebody in the community dropped the ball somewhere. Because what he did wasn't normal, and a normal functioning black man would take away someone so important from the community. So it's a whole, his whole foundation in me was fucked up. So it was them, but it was us too. You know what I'm saying? It was us too. And yeah, and I feel like the way this I was very excited that he got locked up. You know why? Because the niggas that need to see about you are right there. As soon as you get out of solitary confinement, there's some niggas that, because I'm sorry, that's the hood in me. I live by street code. For what you did, you sitting in solitary is not going to do it. You going crazy, start talking to yourself, that's not going to do it. You need to answer to some people. You took somebody's father. You took somebody's protector. You took somebody's provider. You stole a community. You set the community back, because of course he's going to now set fire, and then that's going to inspire the next generation. But you really set them back. Like, he was creating shit right now. He was creating income right now. While Trump is taking away Section 8 and public housing, you had someone who's like, I'm going to buy a building for low-income families. You took that. So he needs to be dealt with the way his community, Nipsey's community, feels he needs to be dealt with. And for us, absolutely, it's our job to see where the community's lacking and follow the example that he had. Learn how to invest, learn how to buy up our box. We all got that person in the Chinese food store or the nail salon or wherever we go that make you feel like this ain't your community. Maybe it's the bodega, but we all got that place. Whereas he said, they used to tell us they took the seats out so we couldn't sit down. Now that person paid me rent. That's what we need to do. It's more than, they're all over our community, and we need to take our communities back.
Actuals and factuals.
Okay, and that was a good way to close that out.
I couldn't think of nobody we can go shoot up or kill in response.
Nah, see? And I appreciate the fact that everything that was talked about was a positive direction.
You don't think? You don't think that's positive?
I mean, and that also depends, though, on the
That's
actual
the
action.
most calm revolutionary.
I'm just saying.
He be so calm and ready to ride.
But
She said
that's exactly
She
how
did. I mean,
I
yeah.
feel like
She
But
said
just
there's
on
a way
that
to
guy
deal
is
with
how
it.
I felt. She just kind of, I'm like, yo, it was a whole elaborate, like the sister that drove him got let out. Like, you know what I mean? What
But
about her? Is she
those
responsible
people
for
are going
anything?
to, those
It's a
people,
whole network.
but Nipsey's community will see that. I feel like, and that's the thing. It's not about it not being our responsibility, but there's some people that are going to see about that from his own specific community.
And we're going to pause that.
But a couple of us said root cause and some other things outside of that community.
Yeah.
How do we ride on that root cause?
I'm not even going to expand. We got it.
That's just
Next
We got
episode,
questions.
y'all
You got
gotta
it.
tune
Think
in
about
for
that.
the next
7 minutes.
episode.
How we
Y'all
gonna ride
gotta
on
tune
that root
in
cause,
for the
man?
next
How we going to
episode.
ride
Eye
on
of
the
the
root
block.
cause? Next question.
Be
Alright.
present.
So, this is the final section of our journey together.
this part.
This is called the
Remix.
section. It's the remix section. So, no music. So, exactly. So we have the remix section. This is nothing, absolutely nothing to do with anything that we just discussed. This is just a fun way to actually end our sessions. And we just, I ask a little random question, you answer it the best way you see fit, and then we close out. So we got about 5 minutes, and then we're going to do our outros. So, question is this. How many of y'all have seen the movie Ep7? You seen it?
Seen it tomorrow.
Okay, so have you seen it? Okay. So what I'm about to say won't ruin anything anyway.
Yeah, right.
No, it won't.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm positive it won't.
Okay.
Because what I'm about to say you kind of saw in the trailer.
Maybe.
But anyway,
Sure.
so let's
Ruin
say
the trailer for me.
Okay, so let's parallel it to something else. So I won't use us as a direct
I'm literally saying
thing.
it.
So let's say you are in your house.
I am.
You go to the bathroom. You're in front of the mirror.
All this horror movie shit you always pull up.
And while you're in front of the mirror, right? You brush your teeth. You come up to look at the mirror. You go back down. You come back up. And then you realize before you get ready to go back down and like spit the toothpaste out, your reflection does it first.
Yeah.
What do?
Pass out.
I'm hitting the mirror.
You're hitting the mirror?
Yes, it doesn't gotta make sense. If we already crossed that line. We already crossed the line.
It doesn't have to make sense. We already crossed that line.
I'm practicing that over and over.
The sun is out.
It doesn't matter. Any time of
The
day.
sun is out. That does matter.
Why does that matter?
You know how to
Because you know. Oh, so y'all are the people who put the covers over your head, and you thought that locked you away in another dimension from.
Nah, I saw Freddy Krueger. He went under the blanket and came out in Freddy Krueger's world.
That's not a good look.
Okay, so Osiris, what are you doing?
The whole I'm gonna be like.
And it's nighttime. Let's say it's nighttime. You're the only one home.
Full moon with some candles burning.
What are you doing?
Billie Holiday playing.
I'm gonna call Cardi and be like, yo, what you put in my drink?
Bruh.
Way to bring it full circle. High five from far away.
Oh man.
That's why I need a freestyle.
I'm gonna be shook. Like if it's nighttime, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm out going outside and need some fresh air.
Staying away from the mirrors.
Yeah, like
I thought about
that
it.
shit is that's just too much.
Yeah.
I need to leave the area and like figure out what's going on in the world around me.
Candy, what you doing?
I'm punching the mirror.
I'm like, she already answered this.
I'm so serious. I'm punching the mirror. I'm calling my dad. I don't know what he's gonna do from where he's at, but that's like
It's the go-to. Like, safety
1
zone.
and 2.
like come get me. I don't know what.
Straight up.
What you doing, Janelle?
I'm gonna call my sister and ask her what she put in the weed. Clearly. Let's try.
What you
Like,
lacing
I don't
your
know what's
weed?
happening. It must be something else.
Somebody clearly laced me.
That's what I'm probably. Where you get this from? You got a new man's out here that we don't know about? What's going on?
Yeah, we don't want
That's
you in the
probably
chicken
gonna
coop.
be my first. Yeah, I'm not trying to be.
No smoke, no smoking in the
Put
chicken
my
coop.
vegan
I
diet
got
down.
5 minutes,
So Sarah,
I'm probably gonna try to practice it again. I might try to talk to me inside of me like, hey, where you going? How you did that? I'm a spiritual technologist, bro. I would be intrigued. Like, it's like deja vu to me. Like, how do we do that again? If I can make my mirror do stuff and I ain't even there, bro, I'm running game, son. Like, that's techniques, man. Can I send the mirror image to other people's mirror? Like, can I see in people's house through that mirror? I need to know how I got this ability all of a sudden.
how did he make this optimistic?
I don't know,
all
but
the time.
yo, y'all just like tell us your names and
I'm
goodbye.
I'm saying, I'm spying like a motherfucker. I'm gonna bring back all the business. I'm gonna know who did everything against us, bro. I'm popping in the White House like, what do you say?
You know what? Next session, if whomever is available, because we're about to close it out, I'm gonna do half of the session is gonna be a remix.
Oh God.
And I just want to get these responses from y'all. We're gonna do a part series, then we're gonna do the remix for that. And so
All right,
now,
so-
we're about to close out.
Some wild
So,
shit gonna happen.
It is, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
We're gonna close out. I want everybody to just restate your name, your IG, and then pass it on. We're gonna start with Osiris. Go ahead.
Osiris Anthem, Maroon Waters on Instagram. Peace.
Ikandake on Instagram. IKANDAKE.
I am Janelle Naomi, and you can find me everywhere at Janelle Naomi.
Joshua Sarah. You can find me in a mirror near you. Ethiopian is my stuff. Oh, I just dropped a video. Go look at the video. Yeah, it's dope. Thanks.
That video is everything.
I'm Nay Marie, and I'm on Taji Magazine on everything.
And I am your host with the most, Will Focus, the one Will Focus, on everything.
Thank y'all
for joining us. Come back next time. We'll see
Be
y'all
sure to follow CC the series on Instagram and all platforms.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Yeah.